Oh hey there lads, my name is Lossie. Say hello to Iwo Jima and Pacific Storm, the first two maps that will be launching this Thursday for free for everyone who owns Battlefield 5. Before I go on any further, let me just say that this video is powered by the Game Changer Network. EA were super kind enough to invite me out to the DICE offices in Stockholm last week to get an early hands-on with this new content and to speak with the developers that made it all happen. That being said, all of my thoughts and opinions on this content are completely my own. So then, the Pacific. Let's start with the highlight map in my opinion, Iwo Jima. Not to say Pacific Storm isn't great too, it absolutely is, but to me, Iwo Jima Breakthrough is just the best thing playable in Battlefield 5. It is the absolute gold standard of what Breakthrough should be. So that's what I'll be basing my review of Iwo Jima on. I'll touch on Conquest a little, but Breakthrough is how I think this map is supposed to be played. So then, playing as the brand new American faction, you start the round out at sea. There are a variety of vehicles to choose from here, both in terms of transport and amphibious tanks. Planes overhead make the assault even more epic. This initial sector goes full D-Day, and it actually works. I've seen a lot of people complain about this beach landing and how it'll be full of snipers and MMG campers. And yes, while it may turn out like this once the map has gone live and people learn the layout a bit more, I can say it never happened when playtesting last week. If anything, this sector was the easiest to take as the attackers, as it should be in Breakthrough. There are bunkers for the defending side, dug into the landscape. There are higher vantage points for their snipers to lie in wait, but the whole time, the attackers are fueled by a number of things. The music, the atmosphere, the gunfire in the distance, the shouting, the screams of fallen teammates, and the absolute scale of this map. There has been something missing from every single Battlefield 5 map since launch, but whatever it is definitely back with Iwo Jima. It gives me the same feeling operations on St. Quentin's Scar gave me back in Battlefield 1. Lars Gustafsson, aka Mr. Battlefield, explained in a briefing how the team working on this new content wanted to bring back that classic Battlefield feeling. Massive maps, all-out war, and a sense of scale. That is very much evident on this new map. There are even hundreds of AI soldiers pushing up the beach, dying and assaulting off to the sides of the playable area. You don't feel like you're fighting alone here. It really does feel like a war. DICE also tell a story with Breakthrough on Iwo Jima. Each sector makes sense. You land on the beaches, push up to the Japanese fortifications, move on into the valleys, through the caves, and then push on to the summit of Suribachi. Each sector gets harder than the last, straining the attackers' tickets and making the fight that bit more intense. You become so invested in the game. There are two new pickups as well that only add to the fun, the flamethrower and the katana. Both act as gadgets rather than replacing your primary weapon. I mean, do I need to say anything about them? They make you feel like the biggest badass in the Pacific. I ended up giving them a pass on some occasions though. Sometimes it was just best to keep my dynamite over a katana, or sometimes I was sniping and didn't want to get up close and personal with a flamethrower. Overall though, they were damn fun. And that can be said about pretty much everything else on this map and with this DLC as a whole. The whole thing feels like classic Battlefield. All-out war is back, and it's exactly what people like me have been asking for since launch. Mount Suribachi was incredible. As both the attackers and defenders, you have the Japanese up top firing down at you while their bombers come in and just decimate everyone. By pushing through and flanking around to each side, you really can, by some miracle, cap the flag and win the round. This round in particular, using the Type 100, was probably the highlight of the entire capture session for me. I think it was the final round on Iwo Jima and we all wanted to make the most of it. I was so thrilled that we ended up winning because it really did come quite close towards the end. The Type 100 was really good too. I spent the entire capture session using the new weapons exclusively. The M1 Garand, of course, which I have gameplay of releasing this week, the Type 100 for the medic class, the Browning for the support class, and of course, the Arisaka for the recon class. All very iconic weapons that were a ton of fun to play with. The M1 Garand was definitely my favourite simply because of how iconic it really is, and that ping noise never gets old. In general though, it actually isn't the best weapon to use. It underperforms compared to most of the other assault weapons, but I mean, it's the Garand. Of course people are going to use it regardless of its stats. The Type 100 though is actually a bit of a beast. 720 rate of fire with a 30 round magazine, and slapping some specializations on top of that made it even more of a monster up close. It became my go-to weapon, especially on the later sectors on Iwo Jima, when close quarters combat becomes a lot more prominent. Conquest was good fun too, not nearly as good as Breakthrough, but still alright. It got quite slow at times due to the size of the map, but if you're a fan of those slower, more thought out moments, you'll pretty much enjoy this. So, in the end, Iwo Jima is, it's amazing. Best map in the game for me. It has vehicle gameplay, it has infantry gameplay, and visually it's just amazing. I'm sure things will change once it goes live to the public, but overall, I think you lads will really enjoy this one. The second map releasing this Thursday is Pacific Storm, a spiritual successor to Paracel Storm in Battlefield 4, but let me be very clear. While a lot of us did end up calling it Paracel by the end of the capture session, it isn't a remake. Far from it actually. If anything, I'd put it more in line with Lost Islands from the Naval Strike DLC. We played Breakthrough and Conquest on this map as well, and I found Conquest to be a little bit better here compared to Iwo Jima. There are 7 capture points spread out over several islands, and once again, you get that awesome beach landing when playing as the US faction. The Japanese this time have a lot more to work with. Every island is littered with little dugouts and secret hatches. Bunkers cover nearly every beach where the Japanese can set up fortifications and just lie in wait for the assaulting Americans. Visually, this map is stunning. Everything has been designed from the ground up using actual photo scanning technology captured out in the Pacific earlier this year. This map feels alive, if you get me. The islands are filled with trees and bushes, long grass and different buildings. It all feels very genuine. It's got that Mercury thing going as well, where the map is such a gorgeous setting, and yet you have this massive war going on. Pacific Storm goes one step further than Mercury though, and turns the actual environment against you. Just like Paracel back in Battlefield 4, a massive storm rolls in during the map, turning the place into a hellish, fire-filled war zone. Intense winds rip through the trees and cause branches and leaves to fly off into the air. Rain pours down, changing the beaches and walkways into muddy pools. Huge flashes of lightning and crashing thunder light up the map, revealing soldiers on the battlefield. I know this sort of thing won't be for everyone, but in terms of the sheer atmosphere, it changes the map completely. The map itself feels fine too. Again, that scale comes into play, as sometimes you just want to sit back and acknowledge the massive battle taking place. It feels like an older, crazy sandbox of Battlefield, just like Paracel back in Battlefield 4. In a lot of cases, I actually found myself spending an entire round attacking or defending 1 or 2 maybe flags with my squad. Rather than being able to run around the map to each flag like something on Fjell, it was our job to protect just 1 or 2 flags. We held up this bunker with a flamethrower and protected it with our lives. It was so much fun. I know a lot of people out there did the same thing. From memory, I think a lot of the time was spent just messing around doing classic Battlefield things, piling into one jeep and turning it into the Fliegerfaust mobile, looking for Easter eggs like the turtles or sharks, which I have a video on, or simply playing the objective. It was a fantastic map, and one that I'm sure I'll sink many hours into. If this is truly a spiritual successor to Paracel Storm, then maybe we have some more Easter eggs to hunt for here as well. But anyway, that just about wraps up today's video on the 2 new Pacific maps launching this Thursday. I have another video live on the channel today covering some Easter eggs I spotted when playing, so definitely give that a watch and stay tuned for about 6 to 10 more videos coming each day this week. I have some pretty cool stuff coming up, so make sure you've subscribed and have turned on those notifications because YouTube can be a bit broken sometimes, so keep an eye on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave the video a like and a comment down below telling me what you think of this new content. Are you excited or is it a little too late? I mean, I hope this video has convinced you otherwise. But until the next one, I'll see you lads later.